Can you tell us, she was turned away by a number of doctors not accepting Medicare. Is that a pretty common occurrence? Did
Yes.
you move here from outside?
Yes, that's common.
I moved from Connecticut.
Yeah. And the doctor that did accept it, how was he different, or do you know?
Just that he accepted it.
Just they accepted it?
Individual practitioners put limits on the amount of Medicare programs and people they accept because of the economics that are involved. One of the benefits that we have had in this state is the growth of group practices, where the group people are more willing to accept Medicare and other insurance programs because they have a balanced group that deals with specialization and general practice, which is the lowest yielding operating. The general practitioner has a very hard time accepting an unlimited number of Medicare patients. Economically, it's almost suicidal.
I don't see any of them in the lines looking for jobs.
As a matter of fact, you do. And those are people that are now working in state-sponsored, they are the people that tried to make it in practice and are now working for the state in a lot of clinics and a lot of health things, particularly in California, where this practice began 25 years ago.
You've been waiting patiently.
It's a difficult question. I'm concerned that the stimulus and its effects have been kicked around so much and not really looked at carefully with the facts. And the money that was given, many economists think wasn't enough to really bring us out, and we're slipping a little now. And in the meantime, people are getting so concerned about right now starting to take care of the budget and not spending any more money to increase the transactions, so to speak, in the world and in the United States. Where do you stand? If you go back there, probably it's going to be a big issue whether we're going to do what got us out of the last impression, namely spend money and then catch up later with our better production and pay off the debt long term, not right now. So where do you think about it, and why do you think the way you do?
Okay, the question was about the stimulus and where we are with deficit spending as opposed to stopping any kind of further stimulus. Let's start with the TARP program. The TARP program was introduced by the Bush administration and was further modified by the Obama administration, passed, and that program was successful. Some of the money, almost all of the money has been paid back. The majority of the money that's still out is to AIG and GM. So that money was paid back. Then there's the stimulus package itself. Counter-cyclical spending, or stimulus spending, almost every economist agreed that it needed to be done. The stimulus spending, and on the low end, right here in Douglas County, in Douglas County, they don't have a partisanship problem. It's run from top to bottom by Republicans. And so when you talk to the local town and city and county officials, there aren't very many who are against the stimulus package, because the cuts they would have had to make to their police departments and their schools, it's in the millions of dollars in every single category. Community safety schools, go on down the line. So all of them, whether they'll say so or not, will not say they were against the initial stimulus. In the fourth quarter of last year, the growth rate was almost 6%, and at least half of that was attributed to the stimulus. And the same goes on into the next quarter. That 2 or 3% continued through the first quarter of this year. I think the economy has come back. It has become, there are no structural problems with our economy. Well, I won't say no, but the structural problems that existed when the recession started are essentially past. Profits are up over 40% at the major corporations. The stock market's up over 20%. There's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people hurting in our country, and I think that's what you're asking. There's an awful lot of people who aren't hurting. There's a lot of liquidity that's available. What we have now, in my mind, is a partisan fight where the other side will do anything to undermine confidence to gain power in the fall. Period. I don't think we have structural problems. And I think as soon as confidence comes back, then the hiring will take off. And the hiring's been very slow the last month or two. But I think if the leaders on the other side would put America first and show some confidence in our country, then hiring would start. And that's the last element of coming out of this recession. Once we have the hiring, the spending will get to the level we need to sustain our economy. So I'll answer your question. I don't support further stimulus. No, I don't. I don't think we have that, but I think we need to mitigate the extreme problems that we have that still exist in our country, like extending the unemployment insurance for a few months and looking at it again, keeping people in their homes. But in terms of an overall stimulus, I think we're much better off with the program I described earlier, where we go to small and medium-sized businesses, loan them the money, or augment the salaries that they pay to newly hired workers. Those are direct programs that help businesses hire and get us out of this. And so I'm not saying I wouldn't stop spending to mitigate the worst parts of the recession, but I would not put together another stimulus package, no. Okay, 5 minutes. So we'll take, what, 2 more questions? And does that answer your question? Yeah, thank you. Okay.
I'm under the impression that all of the stimulus money has not been spent. Is that true?
That's true, and I don't know how much has not been spent.
400 billion or something.
Well, I think most of the money is obligated, though.
It's
Because
obligated but not spent.
I believe so. Those construction program or things that you see around the district, around 470, those are ongoing projects that I think are going to continue. Other public buildings, and I can't describe all of the programs that have been contracted and haven't taken place yet.
What do you think of the new bill that was just passed, the financial regulation bill?
I think that most of it. Oh, I'm sorry. Repeat the question. The financial reform bill that was just passed. I think most of it's good. It addresses problems with derivatives being traded openly. The Consumer Protection Bureau. I think that that's going to be a good thing. The part that I don't quite agree with is they didn't address the rating agencies that were a huge part of creating the problem. They put together a committee to look at what we want to do about the rating agencies. So I think they could have done more along those lines. The Volcker rule was put into place, which basically limits, it wasn't a hard and fast rule, but it limits the amount of trading that banks can do on their own behalf in the area of derivatives. And I think that is a good thing as well. So I'm supportive of most of the bill.